Alright, welcome back everyone, Zaf here. I have for you a brand new Hunter tier list because we have a new addition to our roster. We have Akari. Is she a mid hunter or is she actually one of the best hunters in the game in the sport category? Let me cover that with you, and also, just as a disclaimer, all these choices here, all the rankings are based on my own individual opinion. You have to remember that tier lists in general are totally subjective based on the person making them. So if you disagree, if you agree, in the comments let me know, and also in the comments let me know whether or not you're summoning for mid Akari or not. Yes, mid Akari, because she's potentially lackluster, not being the shining light unit we expected her to be, but I'll cover that just because Akari might not actually be that bad. And really quick, a big congrats to all our current supporters. I just sent you a brand new code for 1000 essence, and if you're a new supporter, you do get these 3 codes here as well. So make sure if you haven't yet, to go to the link down below. It's free. Support us on Netmarvel's creator program. Once you support, wait about a day, and then go to your My Page section. That's where the codes will be sent. So just support, don't think, and wait, and you will get these codes sent directly to you. So first off, as you can see here, we have our SR hunters already in here. I would say, generally speaking, for our DNC tier, these hunters will basically never be used. Kim does have some break, that being a support skill, and Johi, she has heals, but in general, these hunters here are the ones you'll potentially use. Jinho for the light break, Kim Chul for the light break. Jinho provides buffs as well to attack based on his potion drops, and Dongsuk is actually one of my favorite dark breakers in the game. His skills reset, making him a very capable breaker. We have Anna, we have Nem, and we have Park. Park provides unique buffs that are actually not that bad to her ultimate skill, for example. So she is usable in certain circumstances. We have Nam, one of the best water breakers in the game, a very accessible unit. She's the reason why you potentially don't need to pull for Jiwoo, just because she's such a good breaker. And we have Anna. Anna is actually one of the best units because she has a ton, and I mean a ton, of defense reduction that is very accessible to every player. She is not a pay-to-win unit, so everyone can use her, and you will use her because she's honestly very good for game modes like Power Destruction and the Guild Boss Battle. But enough about our SR hunters. What about our SR? So, the best unit in the game right now, because I know for a fact a lot of you are here just to see who's the best. I would say right now, based on everyone's gameplay, it's kind of a unanimous choice. Thomas Andre is our Z tier unit, our #1 unit. He's just so darn good. He's a national level hunter for a reason, has so much damage, so much survivability. He never runs out of mana. He is just so darn strong. So that's why he is one hunter you have to summon for. He is just so darn good, but a hunter that's not that good would have to be Dong, so it's a bit of a shame. Even though he has some sick shades on, he's just not a good hunter. So that's why in our A tier he does go with our SR hunters. He's just not usable right now. He does have a gimmick where he can remove shields, but that's just not used. We have support units like Maylin who can remove shields, and she is one of our best units in the game, providing attack bonuses, defense bonuses, core attack bonuses, power gauge bonuses, every single bonus you can imagine. She does it all. Truly one of the best supports for our hunters and for Jinwoo as well. Now, another female hunter that's honestly amazing would have to be Mirai. Yes, Mirai, one of the best DPSs in the game. Obviously, Thomas Andre does have that edge because he's just so OP, but Mirai is no slouch either. She's so strong, so powerful. If it wasn't for Thomas Andre, she'll be at the top of our list because her DPS is amazing, and she's one of the easier units to use. You pop in, use your ultimate, spam your skills, easy peasy, everyone will get melted. But speaking of melted, although Choi is the ultimate hunter and he has flames, he doesn't really melt anyone. It's kind of a shame. In our S tier he goes, just because his weapon is useful, the defense reduction, but otherwise he's just not a very good unit. He's still alright. He has okay, mediocre damage, but unfortunately, he's just a very, very subpar, weak hunter right now. Hashtag let Choi crit. Our boy desperately needs a rework, otherwise he's going to be in our S tier for a very long time. Now, speaking of S tier, we have one more hunter here, Yoonho. He's a good hunter, don't get me wrong. He has a lot of good breaks, and he does have a defense reduction that doesn't stack with Shadow Step, for example, but it is still a good ability. Overall, his damage is a bit low, but in the Guild Boss Battle, people are using him. Potentially, maybe, his viability will move up. In the SS tier, I would say he deserves to be if you're a whale, if you're in that super late game period, but for most of you, he's just a subpar S tier unit right now, but that's bound to change. He did receive some buffs, but still, I don't see that shine in him. He's just an S tier unit for me. We have much more capable breakers, such as Go Gun He, the literal GOAT, one of the best units in the game. He has DPS, he has buffs, he has breaks, he has survivability. He is just so well-rounded. I would say based on the addition of Akari, he does move up for me, just because our late team becomes so much better. I would say if Mirai had one more win unit come in and provide more buffs, more utility, etc., Mirai can easily move up here. I would say these two spots are basically interchangeable. It's just based on opinion, but I do use Gogun He in basically every single game mode out there. He's just so darn good. So he is a unit you should summon for as well, just like Thomas Andre, just like Mirai, just like Malin. These units are a must-have if you want successful teams, at least if you care about clearing content. Now let's see, who do we have next on our list? Let's see, we have Lim. Lim is an okay unit. He is actually not a bad breaker, but I would say still, in the S tier does go. He's just not amazing enough for me right now. He has okay damage, but no one's going to use him. You're not going to put him in the dark slot. You have other hunters for that. You have Harper, you have Charlotte, you have Isla, so he's just not going to be used. It's unfortunate. He's a pretty cool looking hunter, but he just doesn't meet the cut. We have so many other better dark units right now that you can put on your team. And speaking of better units, I would say Jiwoo is a better unit than Lim, but she's just not that good anymore. She is falling off, she has some damage, she has good spammable breaks, but she's just not as amazing as she was way back when Alicia was meta with the workshop. Same with Jiwoo, when she was meta too, one of the best breakers we had, but right now, she's just falling off. Don't get me wrong, not a terrible unit, but not a great one. She needs a lot of work to become an SSS or Z tier hunter, which I don't see happening, at least not for a while. And speaking of another hunter that needs a lot of love, a lot of work, that would be Yoo So-hyun. She's just so disappointing right now. She might be hot, but she leaves a lot to be desired. I would say her DPS is amazing. I don't know if I would put her in the SSS tier. She feels a bit lacking. I would say either at the top for SS tier or at the bottom for SSS tier. I'm going to put her right here because she's our only fire DPS. That doesn't mean she's the best unit in the game, doesn't mean she's amazing. She's just the best fire unit we have, so we're kind of forced to use her, but I'm not a big fan. I wouldn't say her kit is bad, it's just her damage is really lacking. We need a solid support unit that boosts our fire units, because right now, I would say the fire category is lacking terribly. Our fire units just feel so weak. Gina's another good unit though, don't get me wrong. She has fantastic support capabilities and her interruptions and damage aren't too bad as well. I would say right now she's in our SS tier at the top, but I would say with new hunters being introduced, potentially more fire units coming in, her spot will move up, but she's still pretty good for POD and other game modes. But I would say she's not a hunter we are really using much at all. At least I'm not really using her too much. So at the top of our SS tier she does go. She's very situational. So she's not going to be like a hunter like Thomas Andre or Go or Mirai, where you do use them all the time. Now in that category, we also have hunters like Libora. You're not using her all the time, but she does provide fantastic global effects. That's why in our SSS tier she does go. She has amazing abilities and her damage isn't too bad at all. So she is a unit you will use from time to time. You're not going to rush a summon for her, but as you slowly do build up your accounts, you're going to notice she's going to be amazing for teamfight modes, where she does provide substantial bonuses. Now, speaking of bonuses, although he doesn't provide too many buffs to our team, generally only to our win units when enemies are in the breaks, I would say Wu is still one of our best units when it comes to the break category. He's basically our only win breaker right now, but he does a very good job at it, breaking the targets almost instantly. Just like our GOAT Go, he provides a ton of breaks with his fists, but Go is honestly way better, but that does not mean Wu is bad. He is actually a surprisingly okay hunter. His damage sucks, don't get me wrong, but his break capabilities, that's what makes him one of the best breakers in the game right now, at least for the win category. Now I do want to put one more win unit in there. We have Hansame. She is not OP, but she's very well rounded, providing HP, mana, and damage gains, especially to our win unit, so SSS tier she does go in. She is a unit you want to pull for. Her weapon kind of sucks. It's very lackluster, not improving the damage increase, just the duration, but still, she's a very capable hunter. One of the best supports we have, especially when it comes to the guild boss battle. Now let's see who else is left in here. We have a lot of top tier hunters. We have Akari, we have Emma, Charlotte Harper. Let's do Alicia next. I would say for Alicia, she is still kind of falling off just because we don't have too many game modes where we do need a water unit, but still, in our Z tier she does go towards the bottom. However, she's going to be very situational. You're not using her all the time right now just because game modes don't have too many water weaknesses, but still, she's very, very good. Just like Silverman Yunho, he is a very good hunter, basically on par with our best dark DPS, but a lot of us won't use him. He is honestly one dedicated support hunter away from being one of our top DPS hunters, but still, I don't see a use in him right now. Most of us have Harper and Charlotte. He's just not going to be used, so I would say in between Alicia and Malin, he does go. I'm going to put him right here, just because we don't use him, but he does have a lot of merit in his kit, providing substantial damage right now after he received, I think, 3 buffs back to back, making him a very capable hunter, but just leave him off your rate up list for now. You don't need to pull him. You can pull someone else like Charlotte, who is a very easy hunter to use, especially when you have Isla, you have Harper on your team, making her very capable to clear basically all content, at least when the enemy is weak to dark. That's why right here she goes behind Mirai. That's because her damage is so crazy and it's very easy to get off. Her ultimate comes up ASAP, meaning her skill cap is honestly pretty low. Now let's move up Cha. Let's see, where can Cha go? One of our favorite waifus. I would say right now, Cha does find a spot right around here. She's not necessarily the most viable light hunter just because without Go, she's actually very weak. If you remember way back when, before Go was released, she was literally falling off because her damage was so low. If it wasn't for Go, Cha would honestly be right down here. But because we have Go on our team, Cha does become a very capable hunter, but right now, we do have a brand new light hunter. So, are we using Thomas Andre, Go, and the brand new hunter, or are we using Thomas Andre, Go, and Cha, or maybe swapping in for Min? That's a good question. That's why I am moving her down just a bit because we don't necessarily need her on our team anymore. She's still very good. For the Guild Boss battle, she's good as well, but she did lose that spot too in the top spots for our Guild Boss battle lineup, which is a shame, but that's just how it works. Thomas Andre and Go are just too darn good. So, we have Akari, but let me cover Min. Honestly speaking, one of the best supports in the game. It's a shame his disguise effect doesn't come up as much as it should, because he does lose out a lot of damage. If his disguise skill isn't activated, he loses that crit buff and that punishment buff as well, which could be 15% damage increase, so that's fine. He's still very good. I would put him right over here. I'm moving him up just because I'm honestly using him all the time, especially at A1 on my free play account. He's just so viable. You don't need him to A5 to make him amazing. Even at A1, he's pretty darn good, but obviously, A5 is where he gives our best hunters a massive damage gain. It's really tough to put Min in our SSS tier because we just use him all the time. He's so good. That's why, closer to the bottom of our Z tier he does go. I feel like soon enough, I'll need a brand new tier because our Z tier is getting full. So if I did want to make a brand new tier, I would move Thomas Andre up, I would move Go up, and I would put Mirai up as well, just to clear out our Z tier a little bit. But let's continue. Who else do we have here? We have Emma. Don't get me wrong, Emma is good, but again, the fire category is just a little bit weak. It's honestly a shame because Emma is so good, one of my favorite units, but in the SSS tier she does go because for game modes like BOT, she's going to be off those hunters we always use, having break, having good damage as well. So Emma, not hunter should sleep on. She does provide it all, but it's a shame. Our fire units are just a bit too weak right now. Let's see who else is left now. We have Harper, okay. So Harper, very good unit. Great buffs, great breaks, great survivability, great unit all around. I'm going to place her right over... tough call. Alicia is a bit more usable. We can use other hunters in place of Harper, so I'm going to put her right here, just because when water weaknesses do come up, Alicia is a go-to. Amazing DPS, don't get me wrong, so Harper right here. Another Z-tier spot. We have a lot of good Z-tier hunters. That's just because all these elemental types do matter. There is no one hunter to rule them all. Well, maybe Thomas Andre, but every element does have their own Z-tier hunters, their own SS-tier hunters, etc. So that's why Z-tier is kind of full. we don't just use universal teams, we have to have multiple hunters to make sure we can clear all the content in the game right now because there is a lot of it. And we have Isla coming up. She has two big assets that we cannot sleep on, though I wouldn't mind sleeping with. Anyway, so Isla, a very good unit. She's actually a very good global support unit, just like Malin, so that's why I do want to place her right here, just because she does buff all our team members, basically. And her buffs are very easy to get off, especially her ultimate, always coming up, so that's why in our Z tier she also goes. Isla is one of those units you do want to summon for. She can work on basically any team, providing buffs that do work for almost every hunter. Now last up, the hunter you have been waiting for, Akari. I would say Akari is a very interesting and tough choice when it comes to where she goes in our tier list. That's because, if you think about it, Akari does provide buffs, amazing buffs to Thomas Andre, to Go, and I guess Chon to an extent, because her buffs are all light damage increases, but the issue with Akari is, that's her main gimmick. She only buffs our light units, not any other units per se. She does provide buffs elsewhere, like crit increases, damage increases to her ultimate, and basic skills, but that's the issue. When it comes to Akari, she's lacking a lot of global buffs, in comparison to hunters like Isla, in comparison to Malin, Min, where they do provide buffs to basically every single hunter out there. Because Akari is focused on light, I would say unfortunately, she doesn't make the Z tier. She does have to be moved down to at least our SSS tier. I would say behind Han Seme and Yunho, somewhere around here, just because she's not a bad unit. She does make it so Thomas Andre and Go deal more damage, but she is not a must-have hunter. She's just kind of like a bonus. If you want more damage, if you're wailing out, she does become a perk, a bonus, in addition, not a must, not a necessity, but she's not a bad hunter. She's mid because we expected more. She's on par to Malin, Isla, Min, etc. She does have that slight edge when it comes to light units, but when it comes to other units, she does fall behind. That's why in our SSS tier she goes. You're not going to use her outside the light team, but you will use her if you have Go and Thomas Andre, because she's honestly not a bad unit at all. So that should be it for our tier list. If you agree, let me know. If you disagree, let me know. Where would you place Akari? Very curious. I think in a future tier list, because our Z tier is basically full now, I'm going to make a ZZ tier, moving Thomas Andre, Go, and Mirai up one tier. I would say Charlotte wouldn't move up. Actually, you know what? I'll move Charlotte up too. These four hunters here are just so darn good, using them all the time. So I would say in our ZZ tier, our potential future tier, these four hunters would go. But yeah, that should be it. I don't think there's anything else I want to cover here. I should have explained all my choices. I would say for Chon and Alicia, their positions are kind of on a lifeline right now. They are bound to fall down one tier if they don't become any more viable, especially for Alicia. Water units are kind of lacking right now. There's not much content for them, so eventually don't be surprised if she does fall right here to the top for SSS tier, but she's still pretty darn good, so I'll keep her up here just for now, but her spot position is limited. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop your like, make sure to subscribe, and don't forget, you have to support us ASAP. That way, I can send you these codes right here. They do expire soon, so do support, don't think, and you will get codes sent to you. There's a reason why we're ranked number 1 with the most number of supporters. That's because I make sure every single supporter does get their codes. On that note, this is your Code King Zaf, signing out.